What I want to show you in this video is what the sequence is like if you do get a problem with your Windows Defender application control policy on a reboot of Windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an error in our policy. We're going to reboot and then we'll see how we'll deal with that error. But to give you an idea here, let me have a look at the policies that I'm going to work with. So I have a policy here, a custom policy here called deny all enforce. So let's just go in and have a look at what that policy has. Now, importantly, you'll see that this policy here has the option set for audit mode. So what that means is that when the machine reboots, Windows Defender Application Control will only log its errors to the event viewer to allow us to troubleshoot. Now, if I remove those lines there, it will be placed into enforcement mode, which will prevent potentially anything not covered by this policy from executing. Now, I could go in here and simply edit the XML rule, but what I'm going to do here is I will do it in PowerShell so you know how to do that. So we do that via the set-rule option. You'll see that I've got a file path to that file and the option number 3, so that handles the auditing capability, and I've set the option there to delete. So what I'm going to do is run that. All right, so if we go in and have a look at our policy now, so let's go in and edit our policy. Okay, you'll see that the option to audit has been removed. So again, we are going to enforce this. Now, the next option that we need to do is we need to push this into the appropriate directory. Now, this being a standalone machine, Windows 10 Enterprise, we're going to push it into this directory here called Code Integrity under System 32. All right, so we can use our PowerShell capabilities to do that. So let me just open the file that will do that. All right, so I'll scroll down to the command here. So this is the command that I'm going to run. So convert-ci policy, I specify the source. So that's the file, the XML file that I've just edited to turn off auditing. And I'm going to send it to that code integrity location. So let me go in and run that. All right, so that has run successfully. Let me close that down. You'll see that that file is now in that location as expected. So we're all good to go. Now remember that the policy that is in play is definitely going to cause a problem. So let's go through what's involved when we do reboot the machine with a policy that is going to cause us a problem here. So what's going to happen is that the machine is going to basically go into a troubleshooting mode. This is, like I said, related to the fact that something to do with the drivers or the files aren't allowed. You'll see, as we've got on the screen here, it's preparing to do a repair. You'll see a couple of these screens appear, and then we'll be presented with some options that allow us to go in and basically turn off these driver settings. So you'll see it comes up with diagnosing the PC. In a moment, it's going to come up with an option that allow us to go into some advanced options. So all that's happening in the background is that there is a file that is prevented from executing or whatever by the Windows Defender Application Control policy we've put in place, and that's again causing this issue when it comes to boot. Again, you will see it now trying to attempt some repairs, and here is the screen here. So what we want to do is select the option to go to advanced options there. All right, we want to go in and troubleshoot, and then we want to go into advanced options. Now what we want to do here is select startup settings, and you'll see that we're now presented with some options here, and one of those you'll note here is disable driver signature enforcement. So that's exactly what we want to do. So let's select the restart button. Again, the machine does need to restart. We'll come back to a menu here with the startup settings, and the option that we want here is going to be number 7 to disable driver signature enforcement. Now to select number 7, note that you'll have to push the function 7. All right, so that is noted up the top there. So let's hit F7. The machine should then boot as normal, and then what we'll be able to do is go in and make any adjustments to the policy. Now what I'm going to do, because again this is just a standalone machine, I'm just going to go in and delete that file in the code integrity location to prevent that policy from kicking in when the machine boots. So let me just log in here, and when that does successfully boot, I can then go in and work with it as a normal machine. No files have been affected. There's been no corruption or anything. Like I said, the reality is that we've just been prevented from booting because the policy has prevented a file execution. Let's go into that code integrity location. All right, you'll go in here and let's select that SI policy.p7b. And all I'm going to do is, again, delete this. Remember that this is a standalone machine. So I can quickly and easily go in and do that. And now with that gone, if I go in and do yet another restart here, we should basically see that this machine will now boot in normally, as we expect now the policy has been removed. Now, after reboot, what I'm going to do is one final thing is I'm going to go back in to my original XML policy, and I'm going to make a change and put it back into audit mode so that I can use it if I want. So again, the machine will boot up normally here, and once that has successfully taken place, we can go in and make any adjustments we need and update the policy and then reapply it to our machine. So really fairly straightforward to go and recover from this sort of situation. So machine's booted. So once again, I will log in. Okay, and what I'm then going to do is I will go in and run PowerShell and run that option again to force the audit back into the XML file, so that will apply going forward. So again, if we go in and quickly look at the XML file where our policy is sourced, so here it is here. Let's go in and edit that just to see. You'll see that there is no auditing capability in there. Okay, so let us close that and go back and run PowerShell, which I'm running as an administrator, elevated. And I will pull back in that original PowerShell that remove that and get rid of the delete option. So let's go in and pull in that file. And this is what we ran initially. So let's just get rid of that. Remember, it is option 3. So let's go in and run this. Okay, so that should now have successfully run. Let's go back in and have a look at this file, the XML file, and go in and edit it. And you'll see here is the audit option that has been returned to that file. So if we now go and compile that, put that into that code integrity, it will only be in audit mode and we won't get any issues when the machine boots. So what we've done here is we've basically worked through troubleshooting or disabling the code integrity drivers if there is a problem during reboot. Typically you will see this when you apply your policy and the machine fails to boot. You'll end up in an advanced option. You just need to work through those options as I've shown and select that one that disables the driver signature for the environment, boot in, make any changes, updates that you need to make, and then you should be good to go. So it's fairly straightforward to do. Now remember, what caused that was a Windows Defender application control policy that prevented some sort of driver or some sort of boot process from completing. So that's the steps we went through to troubleshoot for that situation. Thank you very much for watching the video.